We have now got 14 days to go until the midterms. And as we mentioned, polls show the Democrats do have an advantage to take control of the House as of now. One popular adage is that Wall Street likes gridlock in Washington because it diminishes the likelihood of major legislation that could upset the markets. But would a blue tsunami change the game? Let's bring in Gus Scacco of Hudson Valley Investment Advisors. Gus, good morning.
Good morning.
Barclays had a really interesting note about a possible blue tsunami, saying that that would, quote, be a negative for markets if for some reason Democrats did take control of the House and the Senate on November 6th. What do you make of Barclays' call and concern for investors about the midterms?
Well, right now the economy is very strong, and the reason for that is we've had regulations have been pulled back, taxes have been cut, and I think Wall Street would be a little bit upset if there's a massive change in terms of Democratic leadership. What would happen in that instance is there might be some undoing of the legislation that's gone through that's helped to stimulate this economy. We had 4.2% GDP growth in the prior quarter. Will probably be 3% growth plus through the remainder of the year, and somewhere close to that as we head into 2019. So. Overall, I think that there would cause some upsetness in the market, for lack of a better term. Yeah,
for a tsunami, but then Morgan Stanley says, look, there would be limited ramifications for investors if it was just the House that went blue, which seems maybe more a likely scenario. Again, we've got 2 weeks to go, right. But markets are politically sensitive, whether it was Brexit, whether it was the 2016 election, which of course took many surprise. That was a good thing for the markets. But the federal budget deficit continues to grow. And no matter what happens after November 6th, markets and investors in particular are still concerned about what we're seeing in the federal debt.
We've had a lot of debt. We've overspent for a number of years, and there was some pullback, but we're growing the economy now. And the thought is that you're going to be able to grow out of this over time. We've stimulated the economy in a positive way. It's led to increased investment into the economy, and you're seeing productivity lift, things of that nature, which should bring additional tax dollars back to the federal government. Yeah. We have to live within our means. That's without a doubt. But once again, we're still growing better than we had been, and that adds more tax dollars to the rolls.
My granddad always said, live in your means. But, let's real quick, let's talk about one of the last big reports we're going to get before November 6th. And that, of course, is GDP. We're going to get the first read for third quarter GDP. And the estimate, a little bit lower than what we saw in the third quarter, but still the estimate is 3.3% right now, Gus. Would that be enough, do you think, to power Republicans to actually stay in power?
Yes, I believe it does. We were at 2% prior to the president coming into power. Right now we've been above 3 quite handily, and I think that'll continue. And people vote with their pocketbooks. Right now, if you look at the consumer confidence is strong, jobs are strong, and we're seeing the vestiges are just a start in terms of wage growth. So all those things point to, people voting with their pocketbook, and it should be good for the incumbents.
Gus Scacco, so much to talk about as we get closer to Election Day. Gus, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.